not bring me up. Hey guys, let me fix this. Look at that sky. I'm gonna put some music on while I prep. I just left another meeting, get my stuff together. Got some people in the waiting room. Infinite goddess, limitless free. I'm not bound by time. I'm not ruled by fate. I've been the moment, open yeah. The world obeys. I shift the stars in sacred ways. No more waiting for the skies. I live the dream. I am the prize. Okay, I'm just gonna keep letting people in. Give me 1 minute. We've got about 4 minutes before we start. I don't chase. I magnetize the universe moves when I'm sad. Reasons you're in glory. 9794818. I could have silent your story. You still not recommend. Slowing down, focus, I allow. With my eyes out and down. I'm the well, I'm the fire. I move in love and rise higher and higher. No limits, no lies, only truth I decree. I am the goddess I choose to. Seven, 9, 4, 8, 1, 8. Okay. Let me turn my camera on. Hey everybody. This is being recorded in case you guys want to go through this, through the ritual itself by yourself after we're done. And this is showing me that people are in the waiting room and for some reason I can't get you in. So if you watch this in the replay, I'm really sorry. Maybe it'll pop back up for me.
So if you are new here, I am Goddess LaMeel. I really appreciate you guys showing up. I'm typically always start on time and just kind of jump in. Everybody who attends or has registered always gets a replay. And I do apologize that we had to reschedule this yesterday, but I was trying to be like out in the open and the power situation was not working. Okay, here we go. I think that one worked. Okay, so it just wasn't working. So I really, really appreciate you guys bearing with me and showing up this evening. So this is a guided situation, but it is not a lecture. So if you have input, I encourage the feedback, stories, shares, dialogue, what have you. So what I like to do first is just clear the energy in the space today. I'm using my bell. How is everybody doing today?
Good.
Oh, look, somebody's talking to me. That's great. How are you doing? Every once in a while, I'm in here with a bunch of people, but I feel like I'm talking to myself. So it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I like to clear the space. I put in on all of the different platforms what I was going to be using for this ritual, but you can either watch and then do it again later or follow along as well. So I got my stuff sitting behind me, so I'm gonna move these things over here. Give me 1 second. Do you usually do moon rituals? Is this a regular or is this new for you guys?
I've always followed the moon patterns, but this is my first like actual ritual.
Okay. So that's
First two.
okay. So that's good to know. So I typically do public new moon rituals. We're going to change that a little bit, but the new moon is when we're calling in stuff, of course, and the full moon is when we are releasing. I like to do full moons in person when I can, because they just feel a little more wild and untamed, and I like to use fire and everybody dancing and releasing kind of stuff. And online, I like to do the new moon because it is a little more meditative, at least the practice that I do, because you're calling in and you're really creating something new, right? So if you have not already thought about what you're calling in, this is the Gemini moon that we're in right now. Gemini season has begun. And the Gemini season is really about like duality, right? So the divine feminine and the masculine, your logic and your intuition, the yin and yang of things. So this is a time, whatever we're creating, you want to do it in a way that creates harmony and a synergy between both sides. So what that looks like is if you're calling in, say, a new car or a new job, right? How do you keep both sides balanced, right? You want to release what isn't, and you can always release, you can release on any moon, but the full moon, because of the cycle, it's carrying things out. But always, if there's something that you can release, you want to release it. If you know that you're calling in a new job, but you've got a lot of fire energy going on, then you really want to be calling in also something to help balance like your fire energy that puts you in alignment with the job. If you are calling in a car, you also want to call in a stream of income that will allow you to maintain that car, right? Especially say if it's like a foreign car or something a little more expensive, right? You want to not just call in the thing. You want to make sure that the other half of the maintenance of that, right? If you're calling in a big house, you know, your next level home, have you considered the maintenance, you know, on that house? Somebody to do the lawn, somebody to do this, that, and the other. You know, if you're buying a house, there's no landlord to call. So when you're calling in your intention, especially under the Gemini moon, you want to make sure that you're calling in and you've worded it in a way that actually allows for things to be balanced, because this is really that duality energy that we're in. So if you have a candle, let's set the candle. I might have to move this whole thing over here. Here's my one. So I'm gonna light my candle. I'm gonna read the new moon invocation. So you're gonna take a deep breath, hold at the top, exhale out. I call upon the sacred light of the new moon, the infinite womb of possibility, the divine mother, the goddess within and around me. I open this sacred space with love, clarity, and power. I step into my next level, knowing that what I desire desires me. May this ritual be a portal to alignment, an activation to my highest path, and a remembrance of who I truly am. I am ready. I am willing. I am her. So if you have your pen and paper, or you don't have it yet, make sure you get it. I'm going to teach you a little breath work that I call the goddess breath. What it does is it just helps to center and get you aligned. And it is to the count of 4. So we inhale to the count of 4, you hold for 4, and then you exhale to the count of 4, and then you hold empty for 4. This is also another focus technique. When we're done with the focus, I'm going to lead you into a mini EFT session. And then we can talk about, if you want to share what it is that you're calling in. And I've got some journal things that you can use to write it out. And I'll go through the steps. For me, all of this is part of the ritual, right? Getting centered, everything is about intention. So getting centered, being focused, and being relaxed really helps calling in all of those things. So we're going to do 3 rounds of the breath. So we're going to inhale to the count of 4. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. And that's our last one. Are you guys familiar with EFT and how that works?
No.
Okay, so EFT is called emotional, it's short for emotional freedom technique. And we use these acupressure points when you are doing work. So we're only doing a positive round to help with the focus. But typically, if you are working through an emotional issue, or if you have a negative belief about something, what EFT does is allow for you to bring up the negative belief and release it and reframe it. and then solidify within your nervous system the new belief that you're calling in. Okay. So we start, this is called right here, we use the 2 fingers, either hand, doesn't matter. This is what's called the karate chop point. So we make a statement here, and then we tap on the eyebrows, the side of the eye, under the nose, under the chin, the collarbone, under the arm, like right at the bra line, and then the top of the head. Those are the taps that we're using today. There's a lot of other points that can be used. And while we're tapping, you can either listen and repeat in your head, or you can repeat after me out loud, okay? So we're gonna start with the karate chop point. Whew. Even though I'm holding on to energy that no longer serves me, and I actually don't wanna do this one because I don't want us to work with energy that doesn't actually serve us. So I'm gonna say, even though I'm stepping in to a new version of myself, I deeply love, trust, and honor this evolution. Even though expansion can feel unknown, I fully embrace this next level version of me. Even though my dreams are big and bold, I am ready to receive with ease and grace and joy. And so now we'll tap through the points, starting at the eyebrows. I open myself to powerful new beginnings. We do the side of the eye. I welcome fresh energy, clarity, and divine direction. Under the eye. I'm ready for expansion, abundance, and joy. Under the nose. I'm ready for, I'm worthy of everything I desire and more. Under the chin. My next level reality is already forming around me. The collarbone. I trust divine timing and my own divine power. Under the arm, I receive with grace and I magnetize with ease. And then the top of the head, I am now aligned with my highest timeline. It is done. It is done. It is divinely done. And that is all. So again, this is all just to kind of help us focus and get into that energy of receiving and allowing, because that's what this is. When you are doing rituals and your intention is everything. And in order for your intention to really kind of be, I'm trying to think of the word, to really be broadcast, right? You have to have a knowing. So when we use the candles, we clear the energy, we get focused. We can use all of the ritual tools in the world. If you don't believe and you're not focused and your intention is scattered, it is hard to call it in. So there's a lot of clarity, and we go through these things so that we can be very, very clear about what we want. So if you guys would like to share what you're manifesting, you're more than welcome. If you have questions so far, I'm open to answering. I am gonna do a little card reading for the collective that is here and may be watching later.
Sure, I'll go. So I am calling in a love and marriage and abundance wealth.
So is it okay if I ask you questions about it?
Sure.
Okay. So the love and marriage, do you already have, so you say love and marriage, that kind of implies that you don't already have the person?
Correct.
Okay. And then when you say, what was the other thing? Abundance?
Abundance, wealth.
Abundant wealth. Okay, so this is it okay if I use it as an example? It's not bad, but
Yes.
so the idea is you want to create more clarity,
Okay.
because right now, like the end game is marriage, right? But if there's no relationship, why split your energy? What you want to do is be able to focus your energy on calling in someone who is divinely aligned with you.
Okay.
Right, so then there's no split. This happens too. I like candles. I'm a fire sign. I do a lot of candle work, and so people will tend to say, like, they want everything to happen with one candle. It doesn't really, and then the candle doesn't give really good results. Why? Because if you're trying to manifest money, we'll use something else. I'll say if you're trying to manifest a house with a candle, but you don't have your money stuff together, and you still have some disbelief about you being able to do it, and you're not even sure how you're going to get to, you have a lot of doubts, right? And so when you do the work, you break it down. Instead of just saying, I'm going to light this candle and I'm going to put my intentions for a house, that works for some people when there's no resistance, and they've cleared up all their shit. But if first you need to work on your money, and you need to work on your belief, and you want to solidify some transportation or cause the lack of transportation to be a non-issue, you do those things first, and then you do your house candle, right? So it's the same thing. You want to have, you want to ultimately be married, but right now you need to call in somebody who is a divine match, because you can call in somebody who you love, who may not be a divine match, and then you end up in a marriage that you're not happy in, right? If you want finances and wealth, if you can create clarity around how you want that to happen, like, do you want a business? Want it, an inheritance? Do you want whatever it is? Because sometimes people get an inflow of money because someone dies, right? Or it takes longer because you don't already have a stream for the money that you're calling in to come through. So first, universe has to move you, people, places, circumstances, to create this funnel before it can even pour the money into you.
Okay. So can I say like success in business? Is that more?
That is definitely clearer. And if you know what it is, the type of business you want, that would be clearer. If you don't know, then really what you want to be calling in is the opportunities, right? And the awareness of what you need, what your next step is to your wealth.
Okay.
Right? Because you may be able to get the clarity on how you're going to manifest this money, or the way the money's going to come in tomorrow, or in your dreams. And it's like, okay, that's done. Now I know how I'm going to get it or what the stream is, and I can set it up and continue to call it in, and things will go really, really fast, instead of you kind of being vague in that area. Sometimes vague can be helpful in manifesting, but and by vague, what I mean is open, right? So I would love, to become financially independent, and I'm open to the possibilities of how that happens, but I've got 7 streams of income, so it could happen through any of those, or something else.
Okay.
Right? So you've set it up, you've made it easy. It's hard for people to say it's just more work, right? It creates a delay. Like when we play the manifestation game and then we say, everybody who wants to receive $100 tomorrow, say that, but you don't got Cash App, you don't have Venmo, your mail don't come to your house, right? So unless somebody, is coming and delivering it to you and you don't have a job, you don't know it, it makes it that much harder. But if you have things set up, you have to use logic and your spirituality to call in, right? You have to do the logical things like, I want a relationship, but you'll never leave the house.
Right.
So I hope that was helpful.
Now, one more question. You said that it doesn't help to divide your energy. So should I be just choosing one of these topics, or can I still focus on both?
You can focus on both. What I recommend is that you would do the ritual for a divine match, right? And then do the ritual for income opportunities or possibilities. Possibilities are more expansive than opportunities.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, mine's is about a house, which you already said something about.
So, yeah, like everybody's circumstance is different, right? And I'll tell you a couple of stories, like short, I'll try to make them as short as possible. Like literally, I have manifested a new house without even starting to look or anything of that nature in like 7 days. Like from the day I said we needed a new house to the day we moved in. That has happened. I've manifested homes and had $0. And literally the landlord took $600 from me that day. But it was, I think that house might have been like 3,000 square feet. I had 7 bedrooms, you know what I mean? But that's all I had in my pocket that day. And it really turned out. And like, I was moving with the energy of it. He said yes, I signed the papers. But when I read the papers, it's literally said only the prorated rent was needed at the time of move-in, and the deposit was due at the next month's rent or something like that. That was the language in the contract. And it was exactly how much I had at the time.
Wow.
Right. So, but also there is always work, right? There's always your belief system. Do you believe it can happen? If you don't believe it can happen, you're right. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you believe, we create our reality. So that's why when I said, depending on what's going on with the house, if there's other things that you need to clear and work on, I would do those things first and then do the house, right? So work backwards if you know what those are.
Okay.
And you can also just create a situation where, you know what, I need a place to stay. And I need to attract it, right? I need to call it in. Everything is energy. So the car is energy, the house is energy. That other person you're trying to be in a relationship with is energy, just like you are energy. So you can call that house, in energetically and create a situation where somebody shows up and says, hey, did you know about this place? Here's, and just gives you everything that you need. But you have to be open to that. So usually the work is not in saying, this is what I want and going through the ritual. The work is clearing the doubt.
Yeah, I like that option better.
And that has happened too. Like I'm calling in a house and then somebody comes over to visit and they're like, oh my God, where we are has this, that, and the other. And I was like, really? And then sure enough, I ended up there.
Wow.
So, but you have to, it's the doubt, right? You clear the doubt, and it can come in and the doubt and the previous programming we've been told that the way that you receive something is that you have to give something. I know some clients who they had businesses and their clients gifted them the opportunity to live in their house rent-free for 1 year as long as they took care of it.
Oh, wow.
So anything can happen. You just have to clear the doubt that it has to come a particular way. Right? I mean, there was a time when I was like, I just want somebody to be like, here, please take my house. You know, and then that was the energy that they had. So all of my other, you know, crap that I hadn't worked out yet didn't matter to them because they resonated with me and they were like, yeah, we're going to take it. We'll figure that out. You know, and I'm like, but wait, I can't give you this till then. Oh, we'll figure that out. And it took me almost, well, there goes my light, more than a decade of, because sustaining it is another aspect of your manifestation, right? And I kind of talked about that earlier when I was saying, like, if you're calling in a big home, but can you maintain it?
Got it.
Right? So we don't always have to be calling in this moment the ultimate thing that we want. We can get practice and become skilled at calling in our next level, whatever that is. And you can move through levels, you know, because I was moving every year and it was always better than it was before. And people were like, you guys are like in the military. Yeah, but the house gets bigger and you know what I mean? So I'm not worried about it. But you can, if it's not even a home, if it's a car, if it's a job, you can move and advance and flow through things as quickly as you are willing to allow yourself to do it. Let me see if I can use this for some light. Not really. Okay, so the two cards that came up for us collectively. Let me see if this will let me turn on my. I don't even know. Nope. It said no. All right. Is embrace uncertainty and letting go of the past, right? So what that's saying is that we collectively are so used to trying to control how things materialize, where they're coming from, right? When you're manifesting, the how is not even your job, but we're so accustomed to, our past is filled with control, trying to control the circumstances. But so much beauty comes from chaos. You can manifest a lot in what feels like chaos. So don't try to control it. Get comfortable with uncertainty. Uncertainty means that things are changing and they're changing for, you know, the absolute better. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can produce some light. This is almost as bad as yesterday. I don't know. That is, well, it's light enough for me to kind of see my notes, but maybe not. So what I'd like to move into next is I've got some journal prompts that I want to share that I think will help everyone get clear on what it is that we're manifesting. I'm about to read by candlelight. Okay, so what I would do is one page, you're going to journal on this, but as you're journaling, and we don't have to do this now, but even this evening, as you're journaling, on the other facing page, I want you to write like anything that comes up for you that is a no or a why you can't or what is stopping you. Okay. So the question is, what do I desire to call in to my reality? So if you say, I want to call in my divine love. I want us to be divinely matched. And what does divinely matched mean to you? You know, we don't have to necessarily like the same things, but we complement each other. He has emotional intelligence. He is supportive. He is a provider. He is raised in, you know, this kind of way and blah, 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 blah. And then when you're writing, if you're hearing like nobody like that exists, and so you may write that down, like this person doesn't exist, or your standards are too high. And so you write that down as well, right? Because you want to keep track of that, because those are going to be the things that stop you from calling this in. And what you're going to do is you're going to reframe them and you're going to burn that and you're going to let it go. And then you're going to be able to complete the ritual and calling in what you want. But it is good to know what your stops are, or why you think that what you want is not ultimately true, so that you can reframe them. Because I can say you can get a house and you can manifest a house tomorrow, and you still feel like I have to make 4 times the rent in order to get a house. You know, if that's one of your things, well, is that ultimately true? No, people get houses all the time. There are people, you know, from other countries who move here who are janitors who find places to stay. You know what I'm saying? So is that ultimately a truth? It's not. It's just a belief that you've been holding, or that you have to have this, that, or the other, or you can't have this size house, or you can't, you know, do X, Y, and Z. You want to write those things down. Okay, so that's the first question. And then the next one is, who am I becoming under this new moon? And so once you've written what it is that you're calling in, who are you becoming? Write down who you are as that person with that thing. So if you are this person with this new home, how do you live? What is your new pattern? Where is that? Do you have to drive to work? Are you able to work from home? You know, what do you do there? Are you able to do more with your family? Are you hosting events? Who are you in that particular energy? Oh, Angel, can you turn this light on for Grandma? I'm always out here in the dark. Meanwhile, remembered that I even have a light out here. Okay, so, and if you start writing and you are not clear on, or you don't feel like enough things came up for you, the opposing thoughts, you can journal on the idea of, what am I releasing that no longer serves me for this? So it's hard to call in a man if you believe that all men are trash, right? Or that all men leave. Or it's hard to call in a provider man if you believe that all men, you know, want a submissive provider themselves or something of that nature. So you want to write the things down that are your contrary or contrasting beliefs. When you're done with the contrasting beliefs, read through them and ask yourself, is this really true? And they're all going to be no. I'm just going to tell you now. They're all no. These are not truths. They are beliefs. Beliefs are something that you just simply keep thinking over and over again. They're not truths. And just because it may be true for me doesn't mean that it has to be true for you. So none of those things are true. And after you read through them, you're going to decide what is true for you. I can have a house in the next 30 days and I can magnetize it. And it's going to be so easy. It's going to be like they don't want anybody else there but me. And nothing is going to stop me from getting there with ease. And I'm going to be able to maintain it. I'm going to stay as long as I want. Take that other page, because now you've reframed that and you're going to burn it with your candle. Now I burn things and then once they're ash, I let them go in the air. You can take it to a crossroad if you are that involved in your rituals, but I usually just let it go with the wind. And then the paper that is your intention, you're going to fold that towards you, and then you're going to put it underneath your candle and let that burn. Are there any questions? If you have new moon oil, you can anoint the candle with a little bit of that, or for safety reasons, if you're burning, anoint the paper, right? So after you've written it, you fold it towards you and you anoint your intentions with the oil, place it under the candle and let that candle burn out. If you cannot leave your candle for long or overnight without watching it, it is okay to snuff it out. And then tomorrow when you get in, relight it and let it finish, but always just snuff it out. When it's done, you get to decide what you do. So one of the things that I like to do is I bury it in a pot under a plant. So then I get to take care of that plant and watch my manifestation grow. Some people put them in boxes. Some people put them in a book. You can also, if it burns out all night, you can put it under your pillow. That works really well. If you are familiar with the goddess codes that I teach on, I would write the materialization code on the outside of that paper and keep it with you just as often as until it materializes. And it may be that other things come up that you need to do. You have to be willing to take inspired action, right? So when you get ideas, you've got to move on them. And anytime you see it, you can also put it on your bathroom mirror. Anytime you see it, you can remind yourself. I would write materialization code on there, and I'm reborn in alignment with my highest timeline. Because clearly what you want is at a higher timeline than where you are now. So if you're in alignment with your highest timeline, that's your reminder. Put that someplace that you're going to see it every day. This is the beginning. When you do the ritual, you do the journaling, you burn the things that no longer serve you and the disbeliefs and everything that creates contrast. And then you're going to let the candle burn out on your intentions. Now the work begins, right? So this is, although a complete ritual, it is the start. You've got to be willing to take the inspired actions. You have to be willing to do something different than what you've always done. And you've got to be willing to hear, open to the guidance, open to possibilities. Having it someplace where you can see it all the time is going to remind you that you can do this. It's coming. Stay in the energy of anticipation, which would actually be a really good EFT session that I will create and put in the main section. Whether you have a visiting goddess or a full membership, you'll be able to see it. Because when you start, and that's why we do the EFT, when you tomorrow or by Friday and you've had a rough week and it's like, I'm never going to get this house, Yes, you are. And that's when you do the work, right? That's when you do the tapping, right? I am worthy. You refocus and you make the decision. I'm manifesting a house. I have manifested a house. I prefer that we speak in the past so that the current timeline can catch up with where you are. You already have this house. You already have an amazing relationship, right? And you're happy and whatever else, we got going on. So that's the full ritual steps. I don't know if you guys are doing your journals, if you want to do them now. However, it may take a little time, so it's fine if you do it, off camera. Excuse me. You guys have any questions? My voice is deciding to ditch me. Oh, I made tea and I don't even have it with me. So at this point, I will do our blessing and I'm going to close out with gratitude, and you guys can work on your intentions. If you struggle, if you have questions, if you're trying to create more clarity, now today was the peak of the new moon. So you have 3 more days, right, to continue to work. So if you're doing more than one thing, do one tonight. You could still do the other one tomorrow. So you still have some time. Okay. But if you are not sure about the clarity of what it is that you're asking for, or how to word it so it's really clear, you are more than welcome to message me. More than happy to help you go over it, help you rephrase it till it's very simple and it's very clear. So I'm gonna blessed be the new moon night where all of that is aligned now takes flight. May your intentions be kissed by source and unfold with ease on the highest course. I am protected. You are protected. We are guided. We are supported. Our desires are holy. Our path is sacred. So mote it be. So I also want to recommend that you use gratitude, right? Gratitude for everything. I don't know if gratitude for everything. So you can write 1 or 2 things down every day that you're grateful for. That works if you don't do any gratitude work. Gratitude is sort of like the ignition to your manifestation. Being really grateful for everything you have. And I know it sounds really cliche, but it works like crazy. I had my biggest manifestations when I went from, they had sold my house. My kids and I were living in a hotel. And I went from living in the hotel, kind of in this cycle, of it was not cheap. And, yes, we were comfortable, but we weren't comfortable, right? And so I had to make a big leap because I was really, really depressed about this. And because staying in the hotel was more than what the rent was. And I made a huge, huge leap from that point to living in like 7,000 square feet house, and us moving in and us changing our lives, and our lives were elevated even beyond I hope that didn't, can you guys hear me? My son was calling. Even beyond where we were prior to. So, and the way that I did that is I set an alarm on my phone that went off every hour. And literally, no matter what I was doing, I stopped and not just said, but felt something I was grateful for. And some days, I'm going to tell you, I had to search really, really hard, but it got easier and it got easier and it got easier. And in less than 30 days, business had aligned. I had a business that I didn't even start intentionally. And the business literally created itself around me because of a video I made. And I had more money than normal. We moved into a bigger house and our lives, were catapulted from there. So gratitude changes absolutely everything. It will take your manifestations and your rituals to a whole new level. So I thank you guys for being here. I'll work on getting us out. We actually had physical people, like we had people in person and on Zoom yesterday, and it was a mess. So I do apologize again for that. We're going to work on our next ceremony so that you can see and be a part of, and I'll be fully demonstrating. But I definitely wanted to get out what we had planned to do. I just didn't get to demonstrate it the same with, people in person with you, for you guys. But if you have any questions, let me know. You guys have any questions now?
I do. I have a question. So what are we supposed to do with the herbs and the water and the stones? What are we?
So if you have crystals, can you see me?
No.
Okay. So if you have crystals, pick which one you want, right? And it's best if you have a crystal that is corresponds to what it is you're trying to manifest. Okay. And you want to make sure that it's been cleansed. You can cleanse it in smoke. And you are going to speak to the crystal and tell it what it is that it's supposed to do, how it's going to help you. What is your manifestation, right? What is it that you were trying to materialize? And then this is also a reminder for you. Carry it with you, right? Hold it, meditate with it. If you meditate, if you're going to spend time doing an EFT session, if you're going to spend time, and you should, in some sort of meditation or visualization, hold the crystal, right? Because you're going to program it just by talking to it. And it's a reminder, right? Because now it's going to carry that frequency. When you're holding it and you're meditating with it, you create a frequency that allows you to communicate with it, that allows it to help you with your vibration. The herbs, I don't know what that was. Put them in your, once you've gotten clear on what it is that you're manifesting, put those herbs inside of your petition and fold it towards you. You can also put them around your candle or under the candle. Any other questions? Was that clear enough about the crystal?
And the water, what's the water for?
So typically when we're done, because we also use oil. If you have a new moon oil, that's great. If you don't have an intention oil, that's fine too. We typically have a little bit of water with us. We cleanse our hands before and after, because we put the oil and the herbs on the candle. Like I said, I really wasn't set up to do the demonstration like I wanted to yesterday, but that's what we typically have it for. And if for any reason the candle becomes out of control, which, believe it or not, happens a lot with me. So we always have water, right? So we kind of set up like a small altar. So you've got incense, you've got candles, you've got water, and you are essentially you have your intention oil, and you are writing your petition. So you can use your herbs and oils to dress that candle or underneath the candle, and the petition itself, right? Then also, because you're burning the list of contradicting beliefs that you have that water to put it out in.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any other questions before we go? Nope. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you showing up and lending your energy and sharing energy with me. I hope you join our next one. Like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. All right, happy manifesting.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.